I know the album is named after your hometown, Go Midwest, but what other inspiration kind of wove itself into the album?
Yeah, so I've already been asked why is there not a song on the record called Des Moines, and I didn't want that. I think it's actually cooler to not have that. Um, Super long story short, I'll save you. I grew up in Iowa. I left when I was a kid. I ended up down in Savannah, Georgia for a while. I was a music director at a mega church there. I lived a whole nother life before. And I was actually a touring Christian artist for a while under a different name. And kind of what happened is I just got my heart broke working for churches and ended up back in Des Moines. And I was with my ex, and we'd been there for about 9 months. And she woke me up one morning and said, Jay, you need to move to Nashville, otherwise you never will. You'll never do the dang thing. And I honestly, Nashville was the last place I wanted to come to. I'd heard all the heartbreak stories, people with dreams come to Nashville and then it doesn't work out, and they go back home with their tail between their legs. And I didn't want to be that guy, but she convinced me, and so I ended up moving to Nashville 11 years ago, almost to the day, with nothing but I had a suitcase with my clothes and a guitar, and the only way I got on my feet was there was a couple that lived in Hendersonville, and they let me stay. They had like an in-law suite in the back of their house. They let me stay there for my first 4 months in Nashville. I try to, scrounge up some money and pay them rent every month, and they'd rip up the check. They put it back in my kitchen, and they were angels to me. And I kind of started to figure it out and was able to move out. That when I was thinking about this record, it's really been, it's a songs that are, describe the last 11 years in Nashville. It's a hard place to live, you know, and
Yeah, I
so
get it. I
it's
get it.
yeah, it's a real hard place to live. There's beautiful moments for us, and then there's like really deep, dark valleys. And so I have, those are the songs on this album, and I really wanted to honor not just my home state, but that place, Des Moines, where I first was like, you know what? I'm gonna believe in myself. I'm gonna have some self-worth, and I'm gonna go do the dang thing, because otherwise, you always regret it.
I
So
know.
yeah, that's why I call it Des Moines. We're dropping it on June 28th. That's would have been my mother's birthday. My mama would have turned 60 on June 28th. So I thought it'd be pretty cool just to honor her. Everything I do, I try to turn back to like the cause, which I stand for, the fight against dementia, the disease that took her life. And so we've been doing that now for 5 years since she passed. We just surpassed we've helped raise about 160 million bucks to fight against dementia, raise awareness for caregivers. Um, that's really been my focus, is philanthropy, and music has been what I get to do on the side for fun, to be honest. So it's pretty cool that I get to, have a team around me now to release music. So
I love it. So, how did you land on this group of songs? I feel like it's picking your favorite children and then, maybe pushing some aside. Was there a song that maybe almost didn't make the cut, but you're really glad that did?
yeah, I mean, there's songs on here I thought would originally make the cut, and then that didn't. I decided that there's different sides to me as an artist, that I'm going to show now and then show later. This, I really wanted it to be more about telling a story. I wanted it to be down the middle. I wanted it to be more country. Later on, I'll be showing off the rock and roll side. There's there's a song on here that we decided to make the feature called "Whiskey in the World" that I honestly hadn't even thought about until my manager, she was listening through my catalog of 2,000 unreleased songs.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we spent like months just listening to music, and I still even have a Dropbox that I don't know the login to, that I have songs that I can't even get to. But she found this song. I wrote it about it. We started writing it, and I thought it was going to be about losing my mom, and I've written so many songs about that, and ended up turning into that ex that woke me up that day and told me to move to Nashville. It's about my ex-wife, and I had a hard time. I For me, I wasn't, I knew we were supposed to go separate ways, but I think when you go, you spend so much time with someone and you invest in someone for so long, it's like, even if it's not meant to be, it's like cutting off a limb. It's
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, just that song, I guess, really stood out to my manager, and she's like, "We need to release that." We started playing it live. I've been on tour since January, and it's really connected. So I was actually surprised that that one made it to the top of the list. But yeah, I'm really proud of it.
I love it. How did this project challenge you? I know you've kind of said, here and there, and obviously digging through 2,000 unreleased songs. That's wild. But was there maybe one song or maybe just a moment in particular that, that really challenged you while creating the project?
I think the challenging process was realizing that this album doesn't need to be all from me.
Oh,
I
I love
when
that.
I first came to Nashville, I just started writing every day, and I signed a pub deal fairly quickly and turned in a couple pub deals down the road. But I did the whole cut your teeth on music road thing and made all my friends. All my friends are songwriters, and they songwrite for a living or they're aspiring songwriters. So my manager challenged me. What if, this record isn't all from you? What if it's songs that your friends have wrote that you connect with? So I started actually when I was on The Voice, which I never thought I'd go do that show. I'm thankful I did. But I sang a song by Cody Johnson called Till You Can't. And my friend Ben Stennis was a songwriter on that, him and his buddy Matt. So it actually forced me to think about him when we were putting out this record, and I asked him to send me some songs that he wrote, and so ended up cutting a couple of his songs as well. I think that was the biggest challenge is realizing I'm a songwriter, but to be an artist, the songs don't have to be mine; they can be someone else's, and I can tell someone else's story my own way.
I love that. I think that is such a great mindset to have. I mean, not that I would know, I am no singer and definitely no songwriter, but I definitely, other people that I've talked to, and I have a feeling that you're kind of similar. Best song wins, whether you wrote it or not, if it's something that you can see yourself in. So I love that you're able to kind of bridge that gap a little bit with this project. But I want
Yep.
to talk with you about the sonics of this project. I love that every song is so you, but every song definitely has its own vibe. So I have to ask you about my personal favorite on the project. We'll come back around. When I pushed play on that one, I immediately was like, this is different. So talk to me about being in the studio with that one.
Yeah, that's a song I've actually heard many times. It was pitched to me before I should have been even pitched music. Um, yeah, it was actually it's been released before Craig Morgan released it years ago. I actually heard the version I heard was Sam Hunt cut it. And I think the story goes it was he put it on a private SoundCloud and accidentally made it public and it was leaked. So then I think the label decided, well, we can't cut this, we can't release this now, or something like that. And, it just kept coming back. I think it's just a great song. For me, I'm married to Kylie Morgan, and we're so our story is we met here in Nashville. She's an artist, I'm an artist. We basically high five in airports. We never get to see each other, but we're also 9 years apart. Like I mentioned previously, I lived a whole nother life before I came here, and so sometimes we butt heads because of that age difference. And that song just reminds me of us. Like no matter how much we fight or any sort of hard times we experience as a married couple, will always come back around. I always choose her, and she always chooses me, and I just felt every lyric of that. And then I found out Josh Kelly was a writer on that. Charles Kelly's brother was a writer on that. And I remember when he was doing the artist thing full time, I was such a fan of his. And so it's just really cool for me. Just it kind of felt like a full circle moment. An artist that I followed and loved. I was getting pitched a song from him that he's a writer on. So he actually hit me up and was just like, "Wow, bro, you brought that to life in a way that I never saw, imagined." So that was cool for me.
I love it. Is
I don't
that
care if
Kylie's voice on there or is that somebody
yeah,
else?
yeah, we actually brought Kylie in to sing
Okay.
BGBs on it. She was gonna be with me that day anyway, so I was like, "Hey, can you throw some BGBs on there?"
I
So,
love it. I love it. So I want to talk about Kylie for a hot second.
sure.
Definitely our favorite couple in Nashville. So whenever we get that award made, we will send it to you guys. But
Oh, come
is she also like wife, friend, and A&R? Like, what were her thoughts on the album? Did any input from her affect the project at all?
Yeah, I always run songs by her first. I mean, she knows me more than anyone, so she'll just give it to me straight.
Yeah.
You know, and she's I now have a awesome man. I mean, I have like the best manager ever. I will brag on Stacy. I literally prayed for her down to like what she looks like, and God gifted her to me a little over a year ago. So she's my A&R in my ears, and she gives it to me straight now. But before Stacy, Kylie was literally my only A&R. The only person that would like not hold a punch on me was Kylie. So she's always the first one I share music with, and there's probably songs that I probably would have cut if I didn't have Kylie that probably weren't good enough or shouldn't have been on this record. So we'll come back around with one of those songs where she was like, "Can I sing on that?"
You're like, I guess I'll let you. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to cause an argument, but what do you hope fans get out of this? I have a feeling that you mentioned you've been on the road for a hot second for 6 months now. Have there been any that I know you mentioned a couple stuck out to fans, but have there been more? What do you hope fans ultimately get out of the project as a whole?
Yeah, we even we put a fun song on there, which I kind of like. I questioned if there was room for a fun song on this record. I'm in a season right now where I'm like being super honest and human. Like I haven't been drinking, I'm completely sober, and I feel amazing. But this song, like, it's just so fun live. It's called "Girl in the Drink," and I actually wrote it with my wife Kylie, and we wrote it years and years ago. So I've always played it live, and it's always that song. You don't know it, but you want to dance to it. Every drunk girl at every drunk fair festival club immediately starts moving their butt to it. So we're like, we have to put a fun song on the record, so we put that on there. I feel like there's something for everyone. There's songs on there like "Woman Made" is like probably the most country song on there. And then there's songs that sound kind of like rock and roll, like "Halfway House," and then there's love songs like "We'll Come Back Around." But everything I kind of wanted to be a little down the middle. I wanted to be like user friendly, easy to listen to. I wanted young people to listen to it, be like, "Oh, that slaps." Then I wanted like an older person to be like, "Oh, I can put that on while I'm making dinner tonight in the background and enjoy it." So, and that's kind of what my live show has become too. It's really something for everyone, and it really had to be initially because my crowd started out older, with my niche, with doing so many charity events. A lot of times I look out and there's a crowd of we call them cougars,
We
and they
need
like
Jay
that.
Allen merch with just like a giant cougar on it.
Well, yeah, my manager kind of jokes around, but it's true. She says that I'm the mayor of Cougarville.
There's the name of your next project. Yeah.
Yeah, the mayor of Cougarville. I love it. But yeah, so our crowd, it has leaned in the past a little like middle aged to older. So I wanted it to appease the people that have been such loyal followers and supporters of me in the past, but also have some fun jams on there like "Girl in the Drink.
Yeah,
So
I love it. So to wrap things up here, how do you feel like this project kind of represents your growth? Like you said, you've lived these two lives, you've been in Nashville, you've done the 10-year town thing. How do you feel like this represents the evolution of who you are?
yeah, so there's one song on there I think it kind of wraps it up. It's called "Better Now." And really, I had to unfortunately learn the hard way. I lost losing my mother was the thing that gave me a career, and that was really difficult to wrap my head around. I had a publicist ask me, if you could make a choice to only be known for this forever, would you be okay with that? And I immediately said yes. And then I immediately regretted that I said yes, because that has been, the last 6 years of my life has been being a philanthropist and doing something that's really hard. And a lot of times being backstage and just like, man, I got to go out and do this again. I got to talk about this thing again. And I'm thankful now because I've lifted up my head. And like I said, we've helped raise all this money and awareness. I've become really the poster boy for the National Alzheimer's Association, which is, I take a lot of pride in that. But also it has not gone how I thought it would for me in Nashville. And I realized it's because I've got my own way. And "Better Now" is a song on there that talks about kind of just like surviving and finding your faith and finding yourself and finding character and finding growth. And I feel like I'm finally in a season of maturity where I'm ready for that next season. So really, this record I'm putting it out for me, and I hope someone out there connects with it. I honestly don't care how many streams it gets. If any song ever gets on the radio, I care that there's one person out there that hears it that needs to hear it. So, and I've experienced that the power of music is so real. And you just never know what that one song can accomplish. So that's really what it's about. I think it's showing people that I'm leaning into the next season of my life, and I'm ready to accept it, and I'm ready to do it well and represent myself well in the genre of country music.
I love it. Well, we're excited to have you as a Good Sentiments artist here towards in a couple months. I think it's going to be great. And next time I see you in person, we'll have to compare tattoos. You definitely have way more than I do.
Let's go. Yeah, you got some room for more.
Yeah, I definitely have a couple room for a couple more, but this is my favorite one, my cowboy hat on my hand. So,
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
well,
I'm
thank
trying to
you
grow
so
more
much.
skin.
You see, I know I have a couple of more, but they're all under here. So, but thank you so much for taking the time. Again, I apologize that things got a little wonky, but we'll
Oh,
have
good.
the podcast out. We're going to include the album in our new music roundup next week. So we're just super excited for you. And thanks for always thinking of us.
Thank you, Bobby. Thanks for having me. Have a
Awesome.
blessed
We'll
day.
chat with you soon. Bye bye.
You're listening to